Hi, I'm Sienna, and I'm 26 years old. Some families play favourites with their children. My husband Max's family was one of those. To be honest, it was actually my mother-in-law Helen who showed favouritism. My husband was the neglected child, while his sister Maggie was the mother's little girl. Frank, his father, was neutral and the only other sane person than Max. When I met his family, his mother and sister immediately gave me bad vibes. The insults they threw at me, and Max, gave it away. It was probably because I was an average girl from a humble background, and the fact that Max can never do anything right. Helen and Maggie continuously insulted us. They said,
"My God, I can't believe my son convinced someone to date him. I mean, look at him. All this time I thought he would die single."
"He has nothing to gloat about actually, Mum. This girl is pretty average at best. And she's not even rich like my boyfriend. She suits you, bro."
"Don't disrespect Sienna. She is our guest. You two are behaving like uncivilized people. This is embarrassing."
"What is embarrassing is my son bringing home a worthless girl. Not that I had any hopes for him."
"Stop it now. Sienna, Max, I'm sorry you had to hear that. Please don't take it to heart. You two are great people and perfect for each other. I'm happy for you."
Max looked down the entire time and didn't say a word. I also sat silent because I was dumbfounded. Helen and Maggie quieted down a little, but still threw some offending remarks here and there. That's when it all made sense to me. Max did talk to me about being a black sheep. I never believed him because he was not only accomplished, but also a generally sweet person. It was one of the top reasons why I fell in love with him. Anyway, as the days passed, it became clear to me why Maggie and Helen stuck together. They had very similar personalities and had very few friends. I guessed that their offending and rude behaviour drove people away easily. Throughout the entire relationship, none of them changed their tune towards me. I did talk to Max, and he agreed that it would be wise not to mingle with them too much. About 4 years after we got into a relationship, Max proposed to me. I said yes because there was no way I was leaving this man, so we got engaged and told everyone. Frank was pretty happy for us and congratulated us. However, Maggie and Helen, as usual, had a lot to say. They said,
"So you two are settling down now. Good for you. We will see how long you two last. I will bet 1 year. After that, you two will be bored with each other."
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys even do all day? I can't imagine spending time with people who are dumb as rocks.
"It's a shame Maggie isn't getting married first. It would have been such a big deal for us. We would be planning so much. Why don't you guys wait a little more and see if your relationship actually lasts?"
We have been together for 4 years and are now engaged. Obviously, this will last for a long time. We're sure of this. Oh, we will see about that. Postponing the wedding would be a wise choice. You two haven't been together long enough. Besides, no one cares about Max getting married.
"At least I'm not the one in a long relationship with no ring on my finger. You can give me lectures when you're engaged yourself."
At this point, the entire conversation took a weird turn. That comment had Maggie fuming. Even Helen looked shocked and displeased. Maggie said, "How dare you insult me like that? My boyfriend and I are a good match, unlike you two. Besides, we want a big wedding and not a cheap one like yours."
"That's right. I'm sure Maggie will be engaged soon. Someone is already looking for rings. Am I right, dear?"
"Yes, you are, Mum. Watch out. I might just beat you to the aisle if my calculations are right. Then I'll be the first child to be married. All the attention will be on me."
"I would love that if it happens. I pray you get married first. You are the eldest, and it's only fair you get to marry first."
Max and I didn't respond any further. Maggie and Helen went on to have an animated discussion between themselves about Maggie's imaginary wedding. We simply talked to Frank and left after a while. Right off the bat, I knew there was no way I would include Helen and Maggie in the wedding planning. I also didn't include them in the bridal party. They did throw a fit, but told me that they didn't want to be there anyway. The wedding planning itself progressed gracefully without any trouble from the two. I was starting to think that they might be mean and won't do anything stupid. However, I was wrong. I had underestimated just how nasty these two could be. It was about 4 months before my wedding when I got a strange call from Helen. Max wasn't home, so it was only me dealing with her. I was dreading picking up the call, but knew that I had to. Helen called me and told me to come straight to their house. I was confused because they never wanted to do anything with me. So when they called me, I was skeptical about going alone. However, thinking nothing of it, I went there anyway. When I arrived, Helen and Maggie were patiently waiting for me. As soon as I sat down, Maggie said, "I'm pregnant and engaged, so I'm going to get married soon. You're here because we need to discuss your wedding?" Well, my congratulations are in order, but what does it have to do with my wedding? I'm a little confused.
Well, she is pregnant and having my first grandchild. Of course she needs to get married first. I think you should just cancel your wedding so that she can have hers. She's more important anyway.
Excuse me? Why the hell would I do that? If she wants to get married, she can do so. Why does she need me to postpone the wedding? Because I don't want you or anyone to steal my thunder. You see, I and my fiancé have chosen your wedding date to be our wedding date. I want everyone's attention on my wedding only. This will be my year, and I can't have you distract everyone. So postpone the wedding. Impossible. That is never going to happen. You are both delusional. There is no way I am cancelling the wedding. You can postpone yours if you have a problem.
But she needs to be married before she has the child. Don't be so mean. I can't have my daughter stressed out over you and your stupid marriage. Mom, she is intentionally harassing me. Do something before I end up in the hospital from stress. I heard that and promptly left the house. I heard everything I had to hear. The freaking demands of these two lunatics were unbelievable. I felt like I was in a drama. On my way home, I never stopped receiving calls from Maggie and Helen. They even sent me some nasty texts threatening me with many things. When Max came home from the office that night, he looked a little weird. He walked up to me and said,
"Sienna, why is Mum telling me that you're being cruel to Maggie? She said Maggie has been bedridden since you did something horrible at their house today."
What the hell? This is insane. Those two invited me to the house to ambush me. They wanted us to postpone the wedding to next year. When I said no, they started to say I was intentionally hurting Maggie.
What? Why the hell do they want us to postpone the wedding?
Maggie is pregnant and wants to get married on the day of our wedding. I have received no explanation as to why she wants our date when there is so many else. Max was pretty confused about the entire thing. He had no freaking idea that Maggie was pregnant. All wanted to be married. He immediately called Helen and Maggie and told them to come over. He wanted to get to the bottom of things. When they arrived, Max said,
"What is this I am hearing about Maggie?"
"Well, she is pregnant and wants to get married soon. She has chosen your date to get married, so you need to cancel your wedding."
First of all, why didn't you tell me before? I had to hear from Sienna that you are pregnant, Maggie. I'm your brother. Why didn't you tell me anything? Because I don't care if you know. Your wedding is a problem for me. That's what I am concerned about. Wow, that is just amazing. Just so you know, there is no way we will cancel. We have put deposits on all vendors. If we cancel, we will lose a lot of money. Sienna's family has already booked flight and hotels. I don't care, Max. You and Sienna are not the priority here. I am the priority since I am pregnant. I don't care if you lose money. You cannot marry on my wedding day.
Max, don't be so selfish. You and your wife can have a wedding later. My little girl is going to be a mother. We have to prioritize her now. Besides, you two are having a small wedding anyway.
Your reasons to cancel our wedding are ridiculous. There is no way we are listening to you. If Maggie is so hell-bent on having a wedding, she can choose a different date.
Mom, do something. Max, do you want me to stress out and lose the child? Are you too jealous I'm having the first grandchild?
Maggie said this and cried very loudly. Helen was trying to comfort her while cursing us out at the same time. Max was getting pretty upset by their demands and accusations. I could tell he was getting uncomfortable. So, I decided to unceremoniously kick them out. They left, but not without throwing out empty threats. The next day, family members kept blowing up our phones about the wedding. Maggie and Helen told the extended family that we are cancelling the wedding. We got to know about their plan because many called us to know if everything was okay. When we told them the full truth, they were pretty mad for being lied to. A couple of family members decided to support Maggie and told us to reconsider the wedding. We promptly told them they could choose not to come. We never pressured anyone to attend our wedding and even expected many people not to show up. When calling people didn't work, Maggie and Helen tried to cancel our venue and catering. Thankfully, my mother-in-law had advised us to set passwords so their plan didn't work. When the venue and catering people informed me about the calls, both I and Max were starting to get very angry. I almost ended up uninviting them from the wedding. However, I didn't because Max didn't want to exclude his family. Max was so used to being treated unfairly that he never stood up for himself. Since Helen and Maggie were harassing him continuously, he was starting to rethink the wedding. I knew I had to be patient with him and show him exactly how manipulative and toxic his family is. Things helped when his father reassured him a little. He said,
Son, Sienna, I'm sorry Helen and Maggie are being so ridiculous. I told them to stop, but they wouldn't listen to me either. It's okay, Dad. I'm starting to feel guilty for stressing them out.
Are we doing the right thing, Dad?
Of course you are. Don't ever think you are in the wrong.
I know Maggie and Helen intentionally set the date to ruin your wedding. Besides, Maggie's boyfriend doesn't even want to get married in a hurry. So Maggie's boyfriend doesn't want to rush the wedding?
No, Sienna. In fact, he thinks Maggie is rushing everything. He wants to get financially stable with the baby around and then spend money on a wedding. Maggie and Helen are obviously doing this just to spite you.
Max and I were shocked that Maggie and Helen would stoop so low. How can anyone weaponize their unborn child just to spite other people? It blew our minds. It also made me even more firm in my decision to go through with the wedding. However, Maggie and Helen were far from backing down. They became worse and started to harass us non-stop. It got so bad that we had to block their numbers. Besides harassing us, Maggie also tried to copy or upstage her wedding. She booked a different banquet in the same venue and got a bigger food spread for her wedding. Everything was coming out of Frank and Maggie's fiancés' pockets. Helen also encouraged her to compete with us and build a better wedding. They even went and bought the same wedding dress as me. Honestly, we were done with her. We were being made out to be the bad guys for not prioritizing her pregnancy. Months passed and slowly we were getting closer to our wedding. A few days before the wedding was to happen, I got a call from Frank. It was about my wedding dress. You see, before all this fiasco started, Helen and Frank offered to store my wedding dress in their wardrobe. My wardrobe was full and it was difficult for me to store it in my house, so I let them keep it. Frank called me and said,
Sienna, I'm calling to warn you. Helen and Maggie are planning something. I think it's about your wedding dress. You need to come and take it away from our house.
What? How do you know that, Frank? Do you really think they would do this?
I overheard them talking and laughing about it.
Please take your dress, Sienna. I won't forgive myself if something happens to it. Don't worry, Frank. I will come over.
I was fuming inside. The mere thought of them messing up my dress brought tears to my eyes.
It was a gift from my grandma, who is battling cancer right now. So the dress was extra sentimental for me. I hurried to the house and went up to the closet in their room with Frank's permission. I found my dress sitting inside. Just 2 shelves over were Maggie's dress. At that point, my mind struck a plan. I could hear the click of heels and knew either Helen or Maggie was coming, so I quickly switched the dresses and waited. Just like I thought, Helen showed up. She said,
Well, hello there. Shouldn't you be at your house, or have you finally come here to apologize and cancel the wedding? It's about time.
In your dreams, Helen. I'm actually here to take away my dress. Now, if you just excuse me, I will take my dress and walk away. This is not your problem anymore.
Well, wait a minute, dear. There is something I need to take care of.
She walked and snatched the dress out of my hand. Before I could react, she dashed into the closet and locked the door. Then all I could hear was swishing sounds with scissors running through the fabric. She finally unlocked the door, and at her feet lay scraps of a wedding dress. This woman actually did rip it apart like toilet paper. She gave me a smug smile while I stood dumbstruck. Helen gleefully hurried off to tell Maggie about her work. At that moment, I snatched my actual dress and dashed for the door. I went to my car, put the dress in the back and locked the door. When I went back into the house, Maggie and Helen were near the closet. Maggie was on her knees looking at the dress. Then, She gave the loudest wail and started to shake. I immediately began secretly recording with my phone. Helen was confused. She said,
Honey, what is wrong? I destroyed Sienna's wedding dress so that she can't get married on your day. Everything went according to our plan. Why are you crying? Mom, what did you do? This is my dress. You destroyed my dress. How could you do this? Maggie, this is not your dress. I was careful about it. I saw Sienna leaving with the bag. I snatched it out of her hand.
Oops, my bad, Maggie. I really thought I took my dress. I guess I got confused because we have the same dress. I should have checked the dress labels to see the name.
How dare you, Sienna! Because of you, Maggie's dress is ruined. Now what will she wear? Maggie dear, this is Sienna's plan. I'm sure of it. Mom, I hate you. I hate you. How could you do this? Get out of my face. I hate you.
Helen was busy calming down Maggie while I simply said my sorry and went downstairs. I met Frank on the stairs and told him everything. He gave me a deflected look, told me to go home. He also assured me that he wasn't mad at me. So I went home and left Helen and Maggie to enjoy their handiwork. Maggie had a complete breakdown and started to get aggressive towards her mother. Frank tried to control her and called her fiancé for backup. When her fiancé arrived and saw her state, he was super mad. He was worried about the baby and didn't want his partner to act like a lunatic. They successfully calmed her down, but not completely. Helen and Maggie tried to put me under attack. They called me and even made Facebook posts about ruining the wedding. I simply posted the recording I made and left everyone to see what they did. Max came home and was absolutely furious at Helen and Maggie. He was done with them and immediately sent them an email uninviting them. Since Maggie was pregnant, it was impossible for her to find a dress within a few days. They searched every shop and she threw a grand fit at all the places. Apparently, the fights between her and her fiancé escalated so much that he called off the wedding. He also broke it off with Maggie and threatened to take the child if she doesn't see a therapist for her erratic behaviour. Frank was also disappointed in both Maggie and Helen. He was looking at separation and didn't want to continue living with such evil people. Maggie did call us and accused us of many things. She said,
I hope you're happy now. You two have ruined my life. You even managed to destroy my relationship.
We did nothing, Maggie. Your schemes and plotting landed you in trouble. We were minding our own business.
No, you were jealous of me. You didn't like that I was getting married on the same date and having the first grandchild. You hate me, so you destroyed my life.
Again, Maggie, that was all your own doing. If you had actually concentrated on your relationship instead of trying to one-up us, this wouldn't have happened. I then took the liberty to cut the call. We blocked Maggie and Helen from our phones. They were getting erratic and we didn't want to get stressed anymore. We were both busy with our lives and enjoying marital bliss. In fact, we were quite happy that Maggie's boyfriend didn't end up destroying his life by marrying her. I and Max got married on our usual wedding day. It was truly beautiful, and everyone came minus the toxic people we uninvited. Since I posted the video publicly, the entire extended family turned against the duo and supported us. Even people who said they would boycott our wedding apologized and were re-invited. Overall, we had a great day and exactly how we dreamed of.